Hi guys, today I thought I'd do a really quick haul from a shop online called Grindstore. They generally sell a lot of clothing from Hell Bunny, Jawbreaker. I have done a review haul video of their clothes on this channel before, but today I thought I'd focus more on sort of gifts and homeware kind of items. So I purchased these items 2 days ago and they have come through the post literally about 10 minutes ago. I ordered some posters which came in this tube, and then the other items came in this really large sort of cardboard box. So I'm going to begin with the box. Inside you have the invoice, so I'll just be referring to that for prices. And then straight away you have a layer of these sort of polystyrene peanut kind of things, just to sort of keep it safe, because the things I bought were generally sort of ceramic. So I have opened this box already, so I have taken off sort of all the plastic coverings. So this was just in a plastic bag. It is a plastic goblet. It cost $1.99. It's kind of sort of like a jokey sort of thing to have on the side, and it's just sort of a skeleton hand, and then it has this base. So the only main issue which I have with this item is it is very plasticky, and as you may or may not be able to see, there are kind of strings of sort of a kind of hot glue that has sort of been left. There is also a slight inconsistency in the glass here, but for the price and for the fact I'm not really going to be using it seriously, it's just going to sort of be like a showpiece on my shelf. I'm not too worried about it. So the only main thing really to consider if you do want to use these sort of a serious sort of drinking glasses is at the bottom is a very sort of thin plastic disc, which means that it isn't really the most stable of glasses. So you may want to be quite careful when filling this sort of flute up with a liquid. The only other thing really is that this glass is on a slant, and it's just because it's the way that it has been placed into the palm of the hand. I don't know if this is just an irregularity with my one just because of the way it was stuck, but it really isn't that much of an issue. Again, it may just cause the glass to tip over if it's filled too high. The next two items which I'm going to show you are salt and pepper shakers. So this first one is of Frankenstein and his bride. So this salt and pepper set costs £6.99. I have not taken these out of the box yet, so I will just remove them for you in a second, but I'm just showing you the box which they come in. It's quite plain box. It just says magnetic salt and pepper shakers at the top, and then in the middle it just says they kiss, because the way that they're designed is that their mouths are both magnetic, so when you have them stored on the shelf they look like they're kissing. So first impressions of the salt and pepper shakers is that they feel very good quality. They seem to be quite a sort of thick ceramic. There's no inconsistencies with the actual paint, and they have gone into a lot of detail, especially sort of with the hairline and sort of the little scars which are on the faces. Another element which I really like is the fact that Frankenstein's bride has her little fingernails painted. So when I saw these, I thought that the salt and pepper came out the mouths, but they actually come out of the top of their hair. So Frankenstein has 2 holes there, and Frankenstein bride has 3 holes. So the mouths are just purely magnetic for display reasons, so they go together like that, and then quite nicely sit on the shelf. I thought these were just really cute and a nice thing just to sort of have on display even if you're not using them as a salt and pepper shaker. So the second salt and pepper set which I got was called Love at First Bite, which is meant to be sort of a play off of Dracula. So again, it comes in exactly the same packaging as the last one, and it costs the same price, which is £6.99. So I was going to buy a very similar one to this, where it had Dracula and a coffin that said Home Sweet Home or something on it, and it looked like he was kissing the side of the coffin. But I just liked this one due to the fact that it looks like he's taken a nice bite out of the lady's neck. So again, I haven't opened this one, so I just get these out now just to show you. So again, these feel great quality, and a lot of detail has gone into the painting, especially sort of on the facial features and sort of the ears, and then as you go on to Dracula or the vampire, they've gone to the effort of putting the teeth in there. So again, the holes for shaking the salt and pepper is at the top, of these shakers. And then this time the magnetic feature is on the side of the lady's neck and on the mouth of Dracula. So when they are placed together on a flat surface, it looks like he's taking a bite out of her neck. So after seeing the quality of these, I am considering going and buying the other set, which has the same vampire or Dracula, but in the place of the lady is a coffin. The only thing I do dislike about it is exactly the same vampire used, and so it doesn't really give much variation. So I possibly I'm going to keep looking out and see if they do possibly a different version of the vampire, maybe wearing different coloured clothes or something. Overall, I'm really happy with these. They're definitely very functionable as salt and pepper shakers. I do think they also look really cute as just an ornament on the side. So this next item is kind of a little bit more of a jokey item. It costs $1.99 and it's just a solar panelled skeleton for the car. So this reminded me of the little flowers that you can get in sort of the 99p shop and the Poundland, where it just has a solar panel and you put it in the front of your car and the flower dances in its flower pot. So it appears that the head and body just rock in alternate directions just to create this sort of dancing effect. Again, it is very plasticky, very basic, but it is very cheap, so I wasn't really expecting too much. So the only thing really that I'm slightly disappointed about is the fact that it is quite dirty. It's not really picking up too much on camera, but there is a few sort of like dirty stains on the back, nothing that can't be washed off, but I think for the overall presentation it's something which could be avoided. When I look back at sort of the packaging it came in, it does have a few sort of like dust and sort of dirty marks on it, which it sort of just suggests it's been sitting in storage for a while, but it's nothing that couldn't have been avoided. They could have very easily just wiped it down. There's nothing permanently wrong with the item, it's just sort of the original presentation which maybe needs to be taken into account. So this next item cost me £4 and it's from the Underbedz range of little figurines. So these are just sort of a collection of little monsters which would typically be found under a bed, a child's bed. Now normally these cost around £8, but my one was half price. I think it may be from sort of like an older range. So straight away with the box you can see that there is like a little set of eyes on the tab that you pull out. I just think this is a really cool little feature to it. It does just give this sort of like scary monster effect. So inside the box, I have opened this, there was another layer of the polystyrene and then the actual figurine was in another little plastic bag. So I got this guy because he kind of slightly reminded me of Mike Wazowski out of Monsters Inc. Maybe possibly like his second cousin removed or something. So it's got the eye, one large eye in the centre of his belly, and then he's got these very pointy large teeth, and then if you look inside there is another small little circle of teeth, and then even further in there is again even a smaller circle. Now I don't know how well it's picking up on camera, but these are actually all individual teeth inside, they're not just painted, so you can actually feel them. So it does have these two little dots on the top, which I thought could possibly be eyes, although there is one massive eye in the stomach. It has these little horns, and the back just has this pattern. So although it does seem quite expensive for £8, it was definitely worth it at half price for £4. It's not the biggest of figurines, as you can sort of tell by my hand, but it is very heavy, it's a very solid material, and it does seem very sturdy. It doesn't seem like any of the teeth are just going to snap off or anything, although it probably would break if it did fall from a large height. Now the detail that's gone into the paint is very impressive. It doesn't seem to just be sort of put through a machine and painted, it does seem to have kind of hand painted elements to it. A lot of attention has gone into blending as well, which kind of creates this sort of more realistic effect for this under the bed monster. So the main manufacturers of the under the bed monsters is Furrybones, which you may have heard of. They make sort of plush toys, blow up sort of skeleton toys, but they also do make figurines. So this item, although ironically it is the smallest one I purchased, was the most expensive. It was £6.99, and this is just one of the Furrybone characters. So the box is very detailed. It has obviously the name Furrybones, and then it has little illustrations of some of the characters which they sell. Now I purchased a character called Flabby, which is one of the original characters, which I think is why it was more expensive. So this is the tiny little figurine which I bought. It does say underneath that it's from the Summit collection, which may make it a little bit easier to find online, although if you go on Grindstore and just search Furrybones, it is one of the first ones that pops up. So much like the other Underbedz figurine, it is very heavy. It does seem very high quality, and a lot of effort has gone into the paint. Now with the Furrybones collection, it always has this sort of skeleton face, and then it seems like the skeleton is kind of wearing different costumes, or they just sort of portrayed as different animals. Now quite obviously I have an obsession with bats, which is why I got this one, which is called Flabby. So it has these tiny little detailed bat wings on the back, and then these tiny little stitches. Then on the front, it's wearing a little waistcoat with a bow tie, and it's holding a syringe. Now again, I know I just say this, but a lot of detail has been put in with not only the moulding but the painting. There are tiny little stitches stitching on all of its various limbs and body parts. I think with this collection it's meant to be a little skeleton who kind of stitches different outfits which are based around animals, which I think is why it does kind of give this stitching effect. Now although the painting is very good and very detailed, there is a slight inconsistency just on one of the ears. So as you can kind of see on the inner ear, there is a couple of little white, they're not chips, but they're just not painted, so the mould underneath can be seen. However, from the front, this tiny little inconsistency can't really be seen, so it's not really much of an issue, and I don't think it's really gonna stop me from buying any more of these little figurines in the future. So moving on to the posters, I bought 3 altogether, and they were in this very large tube, which was not necessary for the size of the actual posters. So another thing I'm just going to quickly add while I was talking about the packaging is that the shipping for this company is extremely cheap. I think it came to around 20p or something for my whole order to be shipped, which is absolutely great. I do find quite frequently with sort of the companies that sell more not cheap but sort of the lower price range items, they then whack up the shipping to about £10, so it does end up becoming possibly more expensive than if you had just bought sort of the higher quality items anyway, but the shipping for this company is absolutely fantastic. So the first poster which I got is cat stroking for beginners. Now the only kind of thing I'm not too sure about on this poster is just on the corner. It does kind of look like the black wasn't printed properly. I'm going to do a little bit of research into this because it may just be how the poster is meant to look, but I will put down in the description if it is sort of an issue with the actual manufacturer. So in no way am I a beginner for cat stroking, but I just thought it was quite funny because it is generally quite accurate. So the thing which kind of made me buy this particularly was the fact that it says yes please there and ooh under there, which is kind of like the exact sort of reactions I imagine my cat to have when I'm stroking him. Now this poster cost £2.99, so it really wasn't that expensive, and it's a lot cheaper than if you're buying prints off Etsy or eBay, so I figured that this was definitely a good investment. So this second poster I got was also £2.99, and it's slightly bigger than A4 but smaller than A3. In the background it has a man in a bloodbath, and then at the front it has this almost zombie looking woman, but I think she's just meant to have a kind of just green tint due to the lighting of the scene. And at the top it says burlesque bloodbath. I just thought that this was a really nice print to sort of add to my collection and just to go on the wall with my other images. So the last poster I got cost me $3.99. I was expecting this to be A3, but I'm pretty sure it may be A2 or possibly A1. Now it's not going to fit fully in frame, but it is just a Deadpool poster. So overall I am very happy with my purchase from Grindstore. I will link them below in the description just so you can check them out. As I said, they are primarily based around clothing. So you can get some really good clothing items on there, especially if we're looking for band shirts or anything of that variety. So all of these items, although I would class them as homeware, were all under the section of gifts, and they were all relatively cheap. I think overall it came to about £35 for everything that I showed you in this video today. The service and the shipping and also the way everything was packaged was absolutely outstanding, and I'm very happy with that. The only slight complaints I have was on the actual cheapest items, which were the poster, the skeleton glass, and also the moving solar panelled skeleton. They are kind of what you pay for. I wasn't really expecting them to be that high quality, but it is just something to consider, that if you are going to buy cheap, then don't expect the best quality items. Having said that, they are all going to fulfill my purpose. I can really easily just clean off the little bits of dirt which are on the solar panelled skeleton, and when this is on display it doesn't really matter how stable it is. And then again, the poster, I'm pretty sure that it wasn't actually in the original image, but I am going to check just to see, because it could just be sort of an old effect, or just to make it look slightly more kind of like an authentic old poster. So thank you very much for watching. Please leave any questions or comments below. I am planning on doing a room tour relatively soon. I'm actually currently making my own curtains, because mine at the moment are all falling down and horrible. So once I have done that and got those up on the wall, then I will be doing that, and hopefully you will see some of these items featured within that on the shelves or in their sort of rightful homes. So thanks for watching. Bye!